Hi everyone, so you are here for the Social Planner training. So we're going to show you exactly how to use Social Planner within AgentMoves. It is so easy to use once you start using it. It honestly will take you so much less time by using Social Planner as opposed to going direct and loading all of your posts. Once you learn how to use this is going to streamline everything that you do, and it's going to ensure that you are posting consistently. So what you're going to want to do first, this is a live training, so you can ask questions in the chat and I will take them. I see a couple already. I am going to share my screen. This is how we will do it so that you can basically walk alongside me and do it as I am doing it. So if questions pop up, just ask. All right, so I am going to share my screen and we will get started. Here we go. There we go. So you should be seeing my screen now. I'm going to just do that so you can see that a little bit better. And we're going to jump in. So I am right now within AgentMoves and I am actually in our own social media account. And I am in the marketing tab and it puts you right into Social Planner, literally right when you start. All right. So as you first get into this will basically show you a view of any content that you have actually published. Now, the way that I like to look at content is actually on a calendar view. That is this toggle right here. You can click on this icon and then you can actually see whatever you are doing in any particular month. You can also look at it. You can create new views and do it in different ways. You can even do it by week if you want. However you wish to view content, you can do it like that. You'll notice that up here includes all the accounts that you are integrated with, and you can create groups. Groups are just meant to, let's say you've got several agents as a part of your team and you've got their set of socials that you post to, you can create a group for them. Or let's say you've got, Google Business and Pinterest, which are mostly static image posts and you want to put those together, you could group them together. However you want to group them, you can actually do that. Okay, you can see I actually do my carousels. Anytime I do carousels, I post them to a few specific places and I will create a group for that. Okay, so that's what the groups are. The first thing you want to make sure that you're going to do is integrate your social accounts. So we've got lots of different options for you to integrate. I like to also sync posts automatically. So anything else that is actually published directly on the social channel, it will actually appear here too in the calendar. So I like it that way. I do recommend having an account at the very least with Facebook, Instagram, Google Business Profile, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and Pinterest. Yes, I recommend all of these. So the only ones that you may not have are these last three, but everything else you should have. And it's not that you need necessarily individualized content for every single thing. I'm going to show you how you can do this at scale by just having one post that can honestly scale towards everything else. All right. Once that is actually integrated, I went into the settings and you will see all of your accounts right here. So you can kind of go through that, but let's go through a couple of the other settings. So in Pinterest, you have to post to a board. You can actually select a default board that you want it to always post to. That makes it easier later on if there is a default board. But if you've got boards for your listings and then you've got other boards for something else, like your value-based post, then you wouldn't want to select anything here. The other thing you should take note of is notifications. So it is pretty often, I would say every 30 to 60 days, your tokens would allow us to integrate into those social profiles are going to expire. So you'll want to be notified of that expiration. So you can actually decide which users get notified because your post will not post if it is not integrated correctly. So you want to make sure you have that. Anytime you're doing post approvals, there's an approval process in here that if you've got, let's say, an admin posting for you, you may want to approve certain posts. You can actually set this all up. So this is mainly for notifications. Social categories are pretty important because they actually work in a really streamlined way if you use these effectively. At the very least, we recommend having 5 categories. Okay, so let me talk you through these categories. The first one is authority posts. Now, authority posts are typically educational. They include market commentary. They're really keyword rich, and they do get indexed by Google and Instagram search. So you do want to make sure that you have a set of authority posts. These are normally static, and the captions have just keyword rich information to help you get found. So you do want to have these. 1 or 2 a week is plenty, but you'll want to do that. These get posted on Facebook, on Google, as well as Instagram. Those are pretty much the main places, but you can also have that on Pinterest as well. The next groupings of categories where you will be posting to is listings. Every single post gets attached to a category. You don't have to use categories, but again, I'm going to give you a very good reason that you should use categories. You'll be able to queue up previous posts and repost. So you can only do that when you've got categories. So that's why I do recommend having them, but I will show you how to use that. So listing posts are for just listed, open house, price reduced, and reels you may have about a particular home or tours. And then success stories are your Google business profile testimonials, as well as video testimonials, which are amazing to get. You'll want to have that for your success stories. And then content amplification is basically when you create a YouTube video, right? You want to make sure that you create a blog for that. And if you are with AgentMoves, you know we always send that to the database through an email. So anything that you're going to do where you are promoting those videos, whether it's shorts or reels or anything like that, I consider that content amplification. It's getting the most value from whatever you are posting. And then the last category is wins, stats, and events. So if you're in a team and you've got, a new team member, you may want to announce that. If you, hit some great quarterly number, or you've got some, you're in the top 1% or whatever that is, any sort of credibility post, that goes there. If you are going to do any sort of events or contests, I always say put them into this one section because it's sort of unique to you and your team, and it allows you to make sure that you do not repost things like this because these are really timely posts, right? If you have an event, after that event, you wouldn't want to post that same post again. So I always like to just separate those out. Now, if you've got posts, like I would say across these 4 every single week, you'll be really, really good. This is the one that you may have quarterly, maybe it's monthly. It just sort of depends on the timing, but it's always something to think with. So you should make sure that you do have different categories and that you're posting regularly to those categories. Okay, so you can just create them by hitting this create button, put a name, specify a color, and you will be good to go. Okay. All right. Watermark. You don't really need watermarks. It's totally up to you if you do, but watermarks will just put your logo in the background of every post. If you don't want to use it, you can hit delete here, or don't just put one in there. There is an option to add that to each individual post if you want. They're not really necessary. All right. Global settings just allow you to automatically apply watermarks, like I mentioned before. And then this is really important, so turn this on. This is media optimization, so that when you actually load some sort of image, it will optimize it for all of the different social channels that you are integrated with. So you do want that on. This is a newer functionality. It just allows you to track any sort of links that you may be using. Maybe these are funnels or lead magnets, but it actually will tell you how many posts that you're using it in, how you're using it, and it just tracks the information related to those links. All right, so that is settings. If you are good with settings, you've got everything integrated, you can basically move on to the next step, which is starting your first post. All right, before we get to creating a post, I do want to point out that when you hit new post, there are some options here. This one right here, upload from CSV, will literally do that. Allow you to use a CSV template, which is right here. This is the example. You can pull this yourself. If you just hit sample file, you'll be able to open this up. And it allows you to put a bunch of content in here, all of your posts all at once, schedule them out. And you can even put all the unique fields that may be related to LinkedIn or Google or YouTube or anything like that. So scheduling posts out are a great thing to be able to do. I recommend having about 100 or so posts that go out throughout the year. You can definitely schedule out your authority posts. Those are really, really important to be doing, and you know what's actually happening with them. The other ones are a little bit difficult to schedule out, but authority posts are super easy to be scheduling twice a week even, and have it all done in advance of the year. Okay. And then literally just repost them so that you always have great authority content, which we will show you how to do in a category queue. All right, so all these columns are actually mentioned right here. It tells you how to do them. You do have to put the date formats in what it is suggesting. You can see all of this is giving you some helpful tips. And it supports 90 posts per CSV. So please note that. Okay, once you have done that, let's actually go back. I want to show you a couple of other things that you can streamline. All right, so you see social planner templates. There's some templates in here that you are welcome to use specifically for real estate. Lots of different ones. You can use these as authority posts if you want. You can definitely use these if you want to, but I would just be careful because a lot of people may be using this. So, but it's great to get started with something. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. Content AI lets you create posts with AI. Don't worry about this right now. We're going to get to that in the create new posts. And then the other things that you can actually do to scale your content is going to be in RSS posts and post reviews. So let's start with post reviews. So this is a really, really handy functionality. It allows you, anytime that you get a review from Google or from Facebook or whatever you have integrated, okay, including Zillow, you can actually select it and then say, anytime I get a 5-star review, post it to my social accounts. And you can choose which social accounts you want. It's just an image, so you can put it everywhere except for YouTube because it's not obviously a video, so it won't let you do that. And then the maximum number of posts that you want to go out at any given time, I always just say 1. And how often should you send it? Every single day. It can check for any sort of new review that you may have and then send it out at 10 a.m. You can also post it to your Instagram story and your Facebook story, which we do recommend. Once you do that, you can add an image. So it could be an image of maybe yourself or something branded towards you, or you can just select something like I'm going to do, which is just this. I like branded ones, but for the sake of time, I'm going to show you what the leaves look like. So this is the one that I picked, and you can see it's got the dynamic Google review posted in there, and it will get posted to every channel that I just did. You can add a caption. I do like to add captions, but just something like about your business. So maybe it is love getting reviews and helping people move into the right areas, or move and sell, whatever you want to say, right? That way you've got a caption for every single one. It will put the same caption in each one. I like to put the full author name if you can, but if not, you can put only initials for privacy reasons. You can pick a font family. My favorite is Poppins. That's just what it will appear in there. And you can pick any sort of colors that you want. Once you hit create post, it will check every single day to see if you've got a new Google review for it to post. Super simple. Okay. The other thing that helps you to scale is you'll notice you see RSS posts. Now, we use this already if you have a blog with AgentMoves. And what we do is every time there is a blog article posted, we take that RSS feed from the blog and we post it out. So I'll show you how to get that RSS feed you're going to go into your sites and blogs. And you can see I've got a lot of different blogs here, but let's say I want to create it for this blog. I am going to, I'm just going to click on it, and then we can go into the settings right here and make sure that everything is the way you want it in terms of the site titles. But you can see that's there. And then if we go back out where all of it's shown and we go into these settings, you can actually see your RSS feeds. So these are the ones already created. I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to hit add RSS feed. We're going to select that blog, and I'm going to call this social posting RSS. This is how many posts it's actually going to create. I just want to create one for each one. You can load the full content. We don't need to do that. And I'm going to hit add. So now I've added this. I can copy this link. And then we go back to marketing and social planner, and you can hit plus new post, go to RSS, paste in that URL. Whoops. There we go. And then you can say where you want it to go to. So let's say we want it to go to all of these places. We can literally put it everywhere. So here is the last one. This is one that we just recently did. We did a blog on how to create a listing presentation like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs obviously is not a real estate agent. However, he has a really, really unique way in which he sells. And so this is an article on that. And because this was just published yesterday, it is showing you that that's an example of the one that would post. So you can kind of see how it looks on everything. It puts the link in there. It's perfect. It's exactly how you would want it to be. You can add any sort of text that you want. For example, hashtag, whatever you may want. And then it will check the feed as often as you want it to. So as frequently as 15 minutes, but once a day is plenty. How many posts do you want in each update? You could actually put more. I am not. I just want one. One is perfectly fine. And then you would hit create post. So it's going to check for that to every single time you post something to that blog, that night it will actually check to see if there was anything posted, and then it will syndicate it out. So if I look at this on calendar view, you can see I've got these RSS. So every time there's a blog, it's going to post it. I have specifically done it on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. You can do whatever you want. And then that means that those posts will go out. Okay. So that is pretty simple. And the last one that helps you scale is category Q. So category Q allows you to take a specific category of one of those 5 that we created before. You can select one. I don't have anything in these queues because I just created them, but if you did, you would actually select that category. You're going to select that you want to enable future posting of anything new, and then you want to prioritize new content first when it's posted. But what this means is that it will repost a post that you did. I would make sure that you have at least, maybe 90 posts in a particular category. And that way, when you post every single 90 days, for example, if you were doing this on a 90-day cycle, it will always post that one again. So only a small percentage of people will see the post the first time. That's why we do recommend doing it, but you want to make sure you have enough posts in here so you're not repeating the same post every single day. But every 90 days is perfect. It's a great cadence, and that allows you to do that. So if you hit create or continue, it will actually ask you what days you want to do this on. So let's say for content amplification, I do these on Tuesdays. That means that it will repurpose the post if I don't have something already scheduled on the Tuesday. Okay, so it makes it really easy. So if you have skipped a blog, it's going to repurpose something that you had, right? Let's say you did your blogs every Tuesday, then this one would actually post if you missed one. And you can post it for whatever time you want. All right, I'm going to hit cancel and not actually do that. So those are actually the main things that you would do in terms of scaling your content. I'm going to get into just creating a new post. So we're going to hit new post. You're going to select the channels you want to do this to. I'm going to select the ones in a particular category. So these are the ones that have come up for me in this category. I usually do this for carousels. So you can use Content AI, which if you hit generate with AI, it will pull in your brand voice if you've got a brand voice, which you should, and it will pull in your brand voice to speak like you, and then you can basically tell it whatever you want right here. So I can say social media post about how to scale, I'm going to say scale your social posts with, we could do something like that. We could also do that post on the Steve Jobs thing, whatever we wanted. But once you do that, I'm going to select a few of these, and it's going to use my AI to generate that. While that is doing that, I wanted to show you how to get this advanced template. When you hit bulk post upload, you can actually hit the sample file. I can't remember if I told you that already. I think I did, but I have deja vu right now. But I did want to make sure that you knew how to get this sample file. All right, so it has generated a post for top producing teams and agents. Are you overwhelmed by the daily grind? There you go, totally optimized. These are great for authority posts. You could hit continue, and your post will be there across everything. Now, if I wanted to change the post depending on the channel, I would hit customize for each channel, and then I could just click through to each one and put whatever I want in there. I'm not going to do that because that would take a while and you don't need to. That's why you actually create categories, so I know that everything that I do can go to all these categories. You can upload an image. You can create an image with AI. You can upload a file. You can upload your video. You can bold, italics, add emojis, add your location, add a link, anything you want, you can really do. I do want to point out two things. One, follow-up comments are amazing to do. I like to put links in follow-up comments. It usually helps from the standpoint of optimization. Instagram and Google do not like you to go off their profiles, or I should say Instagram and Facebook don't want you to go off their profiles. So if you put links in the captions, they don't like that as much. It is better to actually just put your link in the actual comment. And then in the advanced section, you can actually add the category. This is actually for adding any social tags that you may want to do. All right, if you are posting to some other channels, there may be some other things required. So for example, for Google Business, you can actually select between these categories, and you have to select the button label, and you always have to have a URL that you link to. In Pinterest, you can select a board that you want. It will have the default if you've got a default board, and titles if you're using communities. That is about it. So once you're here, you can save this for later, which you probably don't want to do, but instead I would hit this little arrow. You can schedule the post. You can send the post for approval to somebody. Just make sure that you've got in your settings the person who you are sending the reviews to, and it will send them a notification. You can schedule recurring, and you can add this to your queue. Now, you don't really have to add to your queue if you've set it up the way that I mentioned, because that will do any new post that is in that category. It will then republish. So you're pretty much fine there. If you hit schedule post, what is cool about that is any date that you pick, it's going to give you the best times for your audience to post. So I really, really like that option, but it only comes up when you hit schedule the post. And that is it. We hit post and we are done and ready to go. So that is Social Planner at a glance. I hope that was really helpful, and we knocked that out in 30 minutes. You know what? I have one more thing. This is an added bonus. If you've got in Ad Manager, if you've got your Google Ads account or you've got your Facebook Ads account all integrated into AgentMoves, any post you have, you can run as an ad. Once you hit run as an ad, it will go into the Ad Manager, and you can easily boost your post through Ad Manager, which gives you a lot more functionality than just normally boosting. So that is my advanced tip for those of you who want it, and I hope that was helpful. Talk to you later. Bye.